Good evening. The Who's today in Sydney were on at Warwick Farm. The track was a heavy 9. The rail was in the normal position. There was no wind. It was a very gluey surface. It was more or less you had to handle, but by the same token, you couldn't be near the fence coming down the side or in the straight and win. You could be near the lead, most certainly. There was a Nippy Nash. He did a lovely velodrome job late in the day. But as I say, close to the fence was no good. And 7 races, the majority, 5 of those winners were nice, all up near the lead. One runner that had barrier 1, but it was always 10 off the fence after they left the barriers. It had barrier 1, very well back too, as I say, but always well off the fence. You couldn't stay near the fence and win, but you could most certainly, most of the winners up near the lead. A couple ran on from back but off the fence. The first race today was won by the Avery suit, trained on the track by Peter Snowden, and they said there was 114.4 on the screen. Discrepancies here all done. No, I shouldn't say that. In the fluck, there was one race, was a big difference, I suppose. And there was about 6 less in the marketplace here in the first race, about 108%. Our captains reached for the favourite in the first race, Suit. We put it up a $2.80 chance. It got out to the 5-2 mark, $3.50, came in towards the finish. The pros taking the 5-2 back into about $3.30 or 20, and it sat up handy off the fence from barrier 7. Its stablemate, having its first start, Vashka, it drew the inside marble. It had barrier 1, Old Current Bun, and it was close to the fence and stayed fairly close to it in the straight as well, and stuck on very well. The favourite Suit beating Vashka by 1.3 lengths, and running third was El Sasso, who jumped a bit awkwardly and copped a bit of a check at the start and made up ground down the outside, beaten about 1 3/4. The favourite got the cash. Meteorus, who we put up second favourite, it was very hard to lay. It went from $4 out to $6, and somehow it found itself actually closer to the fence than Vashka, who had barrier 1, and it finished up running 5th, only beaten 2.6 lengths. So its run was better than it looked because it was close to the rail. That was about the race. Race 2, now, well, you just know this is wrong, but by the same token, the punters, the grumble and grunters, they were yelling out, we'll call the fraud squad on you, captains. You can't do this to us. There was 120, take a picture, 121.6 on the screen. Oh, the robots, they were cheering. But the grumble and grunters, they said, no, you can't. You know you've got to bet 98 every race and give us a chance. There was, in the marketplace, 113%. About 8% less in the marketplace. Where was the difference? Where was the difference? Well, I tell you what, for a start, it wasn't worth for Bob the winner, Contrite Heart, who went around in the same race as the favourite at Canterbury last start, Mariah. It got the cash, Contrite Heart, and it was only back from $10 into $6. It was 9s to 5s. It did get a beautiful run. It had barrier 11 in a field of 14, ridden by neat Nathan Berry, whose mother said there's not a struck match between him and Tommy Terrific. He planted, there was a line of 5 runners up near the lead, and he planted himself just in behind them, well off the fence, eased off their heels, I think he eased off the heels of the second horse, who was up Always Handy from the outside, Supreme Joy. It would have been a great result for the captains. It went from 15 out to 21. He eased off its heels turning for home and was a bit too strong for it. By the same token, only beating it by 0.2 of a length. The second horse was always off the track in the right section of the ground, but it was a good run having its first start. But the winner, they never missed it. It was, as I say, as much as $10 given. I think the best luck might have been $8.50. That started only $6. And where it was no good for the captains, of course, was the second pick here, or we put it up actually favourite. It didn't start favourite. I'm talking about Amanapur. Well, it went from $2.80 out to $3.80. 7 of order 11 to 4, and it didn't have a price. There was a protest, fourth and third, against the second horse here for interference close to the line. Both of them were dismissed. It did miss the kick, or didn't miss the kick. It was chopped out at a vital stage, or copped a bit of it. It was held up slightly on the turn, and it wasn't a bad run. It drew barrier 4, drawn out wider. There's a good chance it might have got the biscuits. It was close to the fence all the way from barrier 2. Palate and also Let's Frolic, the horse that was involved in the protest running fourth. It was also close to the fence and stuck on very well, beaten 2.3 lengths. The winner was given a very good run in the right section of the track. And as I say, it was no good, even though we had as much as 13% on the board. There was 26% there straight away with the top weight, Anapur. It more or less didn't have a price. And even the favourite, Mahaya, it was hard to lay, opening up $3 second pick, only getting out to $3.20. But I found it hard to lay, whereas the winner was, they took as much as you like towards the finish. Excuse me, $7 for whatever you wanted, and $6.50, as I say, only starting $6. The best back runner in the race. The pros found it. They're clever buggers, those pros. Now, the third race, this is more like it, for Steak and Kidney, 121. They must be cracking jokes. No wonder that the poor punters, you can't do that to them. This is more like it, and a race later on where we only gave 98. But this race here, they said on the screen, there was 106.2. There's only a couple less in the marketplace, about 104. And it was won by Minkai. It started the Avery. It was $4.60 into $3.70 or even 60. Fairly hard to get towards the end of betting Minkai, and similar to its last run, where it was able to run down. I think it was Zaza Binks had beat last start by about a length or whatever it was, and it was a huge margin. It was a big gap to the third horse. Well, it was exactly the same today. It only won by 3/4 of a length, beating Madam Nash, and it was 9 3/4 lengths back to the third horse, Trick Shot, who was always in that position. Finished up close to the fence. Trick Shot was off the fence near the turn, but finished up close to the fence in the straight. This race, as I say, it started favourite Minkai. We put them up $4.40 a pair, Minkai and 1,000 Carat. 1,000 Carat got out to as much as 11 to 2, $6.50, coming in to start only 9 to 2. When they started at the top of the straight, went out of the straight the first time, as they were going around they were on the circle, it ran out onto the highway, being facetious. It just ran straight off the track, 1,000 Carat, and proper Peter Roble had no alternative other than to pull that runner out of the race. It might have a very tender north and south. That might have been the reason why it took off when horseman Huey Bowman rode it at Kembla Grange last start. It was hard to understand Huey going so hard on that runner, but it might have a few problems. anyway, it's got a trial before it starts again, and it's also going for a spell. But going straight to the lead here was the designated leader, Madam Nash, and ridden by Nippy Nash, and he ran along. He was always like he was a good 5 off the fence coming down the side, and at the 800, getting along at a solid pace, looking at him all the way, getting in the second hole when they went out of the straight was the winner, Min Kai, who's very dour. And I suppose, look, even though the margin was only 3/4 of a length, I suppose if you're game, it's easy now that it was, you know Madam Nash, and you know Min Kai is going to keep on coming. And I suppose you had in your back of your mind how it won their last start. Even though Madam Nash was well ridden by Nippy, Min Kai more or less on the turn, even though it was 2.5 lengths behind Madam Nash, you could more or less see, oh well, we'll just about get it, and that was the case. 3/4 by 9 3/4, and it was the best back runner in the race, Min Kai, extremely well back from 7-2 into 11-4. Trick shot, they took $10 at one stage, and there were a few others, but not a lot of money for a lot of the others, and it was a bad result for the captains. Race 4, now this is more like it. The punter said, yes, you filthy captains. He said that 94 is better. They said there was 102.1 on the screen, but only 94% in the marketplace. Bad losing figures here. There are 2 roughies in this race. Where there was a big discrepancy, I thought, in the SPs, or even the top fluck. Number 11, the Little Champ, they said the best fluck was $31. Well, I was $81 when they jumped. I never got an Oxford out of it. And Martello, the one below it, number 12, they said the best fluck was 26. Well, I was 41 it as well, and I might have got a little bit of section out of it, but it was 41 on my board when they jumped. So there's a little bit of percentage. Plus, where else was there a difference? Well, the winner, Clever Boy, for a start, there was $6 given about it. They said the best fluck was $5.50, and obviously a couple of others that were longer than what they said. This race was won by Clever Boy, given a very good ride by Nash. It led the roughie Martello, who drew the outside alley barrier 10 in a field of 10. On its inside was Dream Empress. I own the lead, Gay. It stuck on all right, but they were well off the fence, but it was on the inside. Not making any excuses for it. It had more or less had its chance. The winner, the second horse, Lansdowne Road. It tucked in behind the first 3, and it had barrier 2, and it got to the lead, but when they swung for home, easing off their heels was the winner, Clever Boy, as I say, ridden by Nash, and it ducked in under pressure, getting down towards the line. It grabbed Lansdowne Road, who was well off the fence, even though it had barrier 2, to win by 0.1 of a length. It held on for third, and it sat third all the way, strength, having every possible chance. It was extremely hard to lay strength. It opened up $4 and got out to as much as $5.50. The best back runner in this race, I suppose they backed it because it had an outside alley, was Knight of the Realm. It was as much as $14 was given about Knight of the Realm, and only started $8 hard to get. I think I might have laid at one stage after they took the 14 and the 13, the 12, 11, the 10, the 9. I think I might have laid 8,000 or 1,000 or 7,500 or 1,000 at one stage about Knight of the Realm. It caused a bit of interference to a runner here who I think would have or should have finished a lot closer, and that was Cleansing Ale. Cleansing Ale, I can't understand why young Sean Geimer, he was on the back of the winner, but he should have got into that. It's easy for me. It's easy for the riders in the stand to say, but I thought he should have got into the 3 wide line down the back, and he mightn't have copped the interference which he copped from Knight of the Realm, and on the gluey track lost all of his momentum before the turn, got going again. It got into fourth hole, was beaten 2.5 lengths. Obviously should have finished closer. Whether it would have won or not, we don't know. That was about the race. Race 5, they said there was a fat 110 on the screen, 6% less than the marketplace, about 104%. This race was won by the Great Snowman, ridden by Nippy Nash. This is the race where Nash velodromed. The 7, 12 and 18, yes, 7, 12 and 18. When they turned for home, the first 3 place getters, they were running first, second and third. The second horse, Sweet Cinderella, it ran second, Smart Patrol, ridden by Timothy Clark, a great rider, T. Clark, and Sweet Cinderella, ridden by Neat Nathan Berry, it ran third. As I say, they were the first 3 around the bend. They said, oh, if we'll follow you, Nash. Nash drew fairly wide on the Great Snowman, and after coming out of the barriers, he went out onto the ambulance track, and Sweet Cinderella, who drew inside him, followed him, got in, tucked in behind him, and then got out on the ambulance track with him. And even though it had drawn an inside alley, Smart Patrol, it followed them out there. And when they came to the turn, he, as I say, he went out there and looked at those two. By the time they were getting down closer to the turn, Nippy Nash had velodromed from way out where he was to be only about 8 off the fence turning for home, and he stayed in that course all the way down the straight, and he was too strong for Smart Patrol, who stuck on very well over the 1400, and hanging on to third place was Sweet Cinderella. They got the best. Nash showed them the way home, was way this race was run, and the track, the way it was playing, was how the result panned out. And the winner, the Great Snowman, number 7, we put it up a 9-2 chance, and it got out to as much as $7.50, which was taken. It started about $6.50 or $7, fairly hard to get. There were a few runners backed in this race. Exceed and Exalt, even though it had drawn inside alley, was backed. So was Saintly Sun, I suppose, because it was drawn wide. The winner was well backed. Sastruga, a little bit hard to lay. Sastruga, number 8. It went from $6 out to $7.50. Nat King Chew, it only opened up $5, but it got out to as much as $8, but only started $6.50. It was backed. Pendulum, they took $13. Smart Patrol, fairly hard to lay. Smart Patrol, it went from 9-2 to 15-2, $5.50 out to $8.50. Private Label, unlayable. Smart and Sexy, $11, $7.50 out. Sweet Cinderella, $10 out to $11. The bottom pair, $150 and $41. And Private Label, it was 20 out to 26. A little bit less, as I say, only 104 in the marketplace. The winner was Perfectly Ridden. We got to race 6. Now this was more like it. The Grumbling Brothers, they said, yes, you filthy captains. Yes, that's more like it. Give us a chance. Give us a chance so we can back every runner and we can't lose. 98% on the flux screen. The robots, they dialed triple O. They said, call the fraud squad. The captain's downstairs at batting 98. 98% we gave here, and it wasn't worth a dinar. And who won the race? Helvetica. Now, there were 1, 2, 3 scratchings in this race, a field of 10. And who drew the inside marble? It was the winner, Helvetica. And but even though it drew barrier 1, after they had gone a couple of furlongs, there was one runner very close to the fence, and that was New Vogue, who ran second last, beaten 12.8 lengths. it was only 2 or 3 horses off the fence. When they came out of the barriers, the very well backed starting favourite, Give My Regards, was 7-2 out to $4.60 out to $5. Only started 5-2, $3.50. It went straight to lead with another well-backed runner, Amajorate. It was $19 into $12. It sat on its outside. Kisses, the New Zealand runner, tucked in behind them. On its outside was Holy Delusions. And then you had Fine Bubbles, who we put up the 9-4 favourite, $3.20, and it got out to $4.60. Extremely hard to lay. They ran along. Dazzler was behind those from an inside alley. And the winner, as I say, who had barrier 1, he was quite content to just tuck in behind them, but he was a good 12 horses off the fence in third last position. And when they turned for home, the leaders stayed out in that wide course. He was in the line leading, as I say, was the favourite, and he was in that line, but he switched back, when I say to the inside. They stayed out in the 12, 14 wide position, whereas he switched. He only had one option. He couldn't ease back and go around them, and he had to. He just eased off their heels inside. He was still 8 horses off, turning for home, which was all right, not a bad place to be. And he made a quick move and got to the lead as they were swinging for home, and just got inside them and railed up and won easily by 3.3 lengths. It was back from $18 Helvetica, as much as $18 given, only started 11. If you had up $13, the 12-1, 12-1 towards the end of betting, the pros said, how much do you want? And as I say, it only started at 10-1, so it was 17-1 into 10-1, extremely well back. I lost on the race, and as I say, it was hard to lay Fine Bubbles. It was well backed, Give My Regards, and Kisses more or less didn't have a price, started at $7.50. Dazzler didn't have a price at the finish of betting at $8, plus a few other races. It was no good. I'd say if you had to be very skillful as a captain to miss the winner. We came to the lucky last. They said there was 106.7 on the screen, 106.7. There was a neat, I thought, 100% in the marketplace. These were the flux. Turf Hero was $17 into 13 at one stage. I was 17 again when they jumped. Lady La Douce was $8.50 into $6.50. My Sabille, who stayed in the barrier, well, when the gates opened, it wears a barrier blanket. It was inspected before that. It played up a bit, put back in, gates open. As the gates opened, it went up in the air, then came out, stumbled. That was the end of it. It's leaving Joe Pride's stable now, and we'll have to trial before it runs again. It opened up at around about the $5 mark, number 6, or $5.50 mark. My Sabille got out to as much as $7. Was into $5.50 one stage, 9-2 or $6 when they jumped. Another Love Child, the winner. Big result for the captains, this I'd say. $5 out to $7. Very hard to lay the winner. Another Love Child, and it trotted in. Cosmo King, it was $9 out to 13. Delray Beach, who was savaged apparently by Nash Rambler. He tried to bite it on the Gregory Peck. It was well backed. Delray Beach, number 9, as much as $9 given, only started 6 after opening up $8.50. Mighty Obvious went from 40 out to 80. Nash Rambler, it didn't have a price, $13 out to 19. I think the top fluck was only 16, it was 19 unlayable. Where's Red Feathers? Didn't have a price, 20 out to 31. The next runner, they said the top fluck about Classic L, who was everybody will see it when you watch the tapes, was very, very, this horse nearly should have won this race, Classic L. Said the top fluck was $6. I never wound 7 off, went up $7 and was always there. The next runner didn't have a price, Oceans. Anyway, Oceans, it went only from $8 out to $15. sevens out to 14s, doubled its opening quote, and Empress Millie went from $16 out to 21. Around about 100 we gave in the last race. The winner got out in the market, so it's possibly a result for the captains. It led Lady Leduce well off the fence. It gave in fairly quickly, turning for home. Sitting on its outside turned out to be the horse who ran second, Turf Hero, improved run on its previous couple, and the winner. Well, behind them, the two leaders were Nash Rambler on the inside, stuck close to the fence and tried to savage another runner. It was Delray Beach who tried to savage, apparently. It was close to the fence in the worst going section of the track. In between them was Empress Millie, who finished up running third. On its outside was Mighty Obvious, and the winner was tucked in behind them. And when they turned for home, ridden by Nippy Nash again. So Nippy Nash had a great day. He's a great rider, Nash, champion rider. He went in between Nash Rambler. He was lucky, I suppose. Nash Rambler didn't lean over and say have a nice little plate of the winner. He went in between him and Empress Millie. Accelerated very quickly. When he got through, it was all over. He won by 2.3 lengths. But as I say, we will never know if you never go. But the runner that ran 1, 2, 3, fifth in this race, Classic L, drew barrier 2. It was a clear. Well, of course, it took no part, Mysabile, but it was a clear second last, taking Mysabile into a second last down the side, the Classic L, and then turning for home. Well, before the turn, got onto heels and lost its momentum, and then got squeezed up in between runners turning for home, and then easing off heels halfway up the straight, ran into a lot of trouble and was only beaten 3.2 lengths. Draw it outside alley, this runner, and it might have come off their heels, and even though it's been beaten 3.2 lengths, it might have won this race. It's a runner was resuming from a spell coming from interstate. That was about the meeting. There were a few bodies about, the usual suspects, but it was very. I've done my cash there. It was a very hard meeting to win at if you're a captain. The Grumble and Grunters, they got the best of the captains today by a long way. They're on again tomorrow at Wyong, and then we're back at Rose Hill on Saturday. If you are Grumble and Grunting, I hope you won. Good evening.